I want to get into the topic of communication. And if you would,
Communication to me is just a method of relaying a thought or a message. It can be verbal or nonverbal. It could be with traditional speaking language. It can be through other mechanism like music or instruments. Um, I think there's no limitation to communication as long as the person that's receiving the message can understand what the medium that you're using to relay that message, if that makes sense, without translation.
Well, for me, I believe communication, I do agree with E is verbal and nonverbal, but I guess communication is such a broad scope. I love when it comes to verbal communication, I'm very direct. I like honesty. I don't like beating around the bush unless, I mean, even if it's a uncomfortable conversation. I feel like if you are beating around the bush, you should eventually get to the middle of the bush. Don't just beat it and be like, I think I said what I need to say. And then with nonverbal communication, I love like secret, like little innuendos or things that, you can do with your face, or you can look at like somebody from across the room and give them that look and they know exactly what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes it doesn't even take a lot of verbal communication to do that. It's just like people say, hey, I mean, I have this humor and I feel like I want to be vulnerable in expressing this humor. Can I look at you right now and you not judge me? So I think that's a part of communication too.
First things first, can you tell me your name, how old you are, and what you do for work, and then some of the projects that you have going on?
Now you know you don't ask a lady her age.
Ooh. Okay.
I am a student, a budding entrepreneur, and I am 35 years old.
I love to talk, okay? So, because I like to talk, I figured it would be very fitting for me to do a podcast series on how women communicate, the art of it, and then also just gathering information on how a lot of my closest friends view communication, either by watching me talk to them or the way that I kind of behave when when speaking, but also getting your perspective on what communication is. So, with all that being said, if you can give me what you believe the definition of communication is.
I think communication is the ways in which we effectively get across ideas, perspectives, or intentions to others. Um, it can include verbal um, and nonverbal forms, such as body language. That would be nonverbal, or tone of voice, um, semantics, different things like that. You think is that adequate?
Yes, based on the research that I've done on my own, taking an interpersonal communications class, you have no choice but to learn about it. So, hearing that definition does fall in line with what I've studied. Do you believe that that there are problems associated with communication? And if so, what would be your top three problems with it?
So, could you clarify that question? Do you mean me personally? Do you think that, do I think that there are problems in my form of communication, or just in general?
Problems that you've experienced with communication for your personal life.
Okay. Um,
Okay. That's really good to hear. I think each person has their own problems with communicating. And before I got to interview one of your closest friends, Essay, and talking to her, I noticed that there were some similarities in who we talk to and the language that we use with them can differ based upon who that person is, the closeness of our relationship, and then also what our attitude might be on that very day. So, with that being said, when you think of the phrase women are better communicators than men, what's your immediate reaction and why?
Um, there is validity to that statement. Just um, well, I believe there's validity to that statement.
Good morning, good morning. We are finally back for the last interviewee person. My dearest friend, an amazing friend, the one that I have learned about communication from in real life, the Summer Okeke. I haven't introduced anybody else, but because you feel like an honorary guest, I just had to. Um,
Oh, thank you.
you're welcome. So please state your name and then tell me what your credentials are concerning communication, like what you like about it, what you learned
Mhm,
about it,
mhm.
all the things.
So my name is Summer OKK. I am a graduate of mass communication, integrated media. Um, Something I like about it is communication is universal. There's so many beautiful ways to communicate with people, um, to communicate with yourself, and it's different for each person. With my major, my responsibility was learning how to communicate with my audience and, really understanding what the process looks like, how to tell a story, how to be in depth about what story I was conveying. So,
Helped me a lot. She grooming isn't the right word. I'd say trained. She trained me on how and one once upon a time I wasn't able to be as clear as I like to be. And Summer's go to with me would be asking me questions to truly understand what exactly I was trying to get across to her. So, one of the theories that I've studied, it's called transactional model. And it's this idea that you have a sender of a message and that message gets sent through a channel. So right now our channel is the phone, and for yourself, you are hearing me, you're receiving the information, and you are going to decode that information with whatever message baggage or whatever a meaning baggage is to you. So if I say, oh my gosh, I'm sitting down on the floor, you're like, oh my gosh, the floor is disgusting, but it could be a floor constantly cleaned off for people to sit on. It's whatever comes to our minds as we are trying to think about what the other person is like going through. So I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a lot, but I do want to make it a point to say that I've kind of changed my study with this particular project. At first, I was like, okay, let's talk about feminine communication and the art of it. But after further consideration of my paper, I actually want to talk about how we as women, our words can sometimes be misinterpreted. And I know that that's something that I don't want to say it's a fear, it's a kryptonite of mine, you know? So, for yourself, in what ways have you experienced that the words that you would say to the world or you would say to a friend that they've gotten misinterpreted?
this is a really good topic. I have to tell you that because I don't think it's talked enough how we can be misunderstood or people can misinterpret what we're, saying or meaning based off of their own feelings or reaction. But one thing that I think has been misinterpreted. Let me see. This is a loaded question. I gotta think about this one. Hold on. Um, I want to use like a basic one because women tend to wear their hearts on their sleeves, and a lot of women tend to kind of show their emotions more than.
Utilize interpersonal communication skills with your PNC guests.
So I love this because with my PNC guests, PNC has a model called Cares, and it in layman's terms, it puts us in a position to where we have to be very intentional with our clients. From the moment they get out of their cars, we're already observing. We're observing body language. We're observing how they're carrying themselves. We're observing their facial expressions. To the moment they walk into the door, we open it for them. And we're asking, how are you? How can I assist you today? What's going on? How can I make your day better or easier? And all of that intentionality, it just makes the client feel very cared for and listened to. And it could be something that's very, very, simple, like, oh, I just need to make a deposit.
Going on
Um,
here. What about a time where you were at PNC and you had to kind of dial back your
that's good.
friendliness
Yeah,
for
that's
a
good.
man?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go in that
Yeah,
direction.
let's go in that direction. So, me being as sweet as I am and smiling and, being very, very interpersonal, um, men, older men tend to like that. Cool, admirable, but some take it a little too far. And there are times that I have to dial back that from them to let them know, hey, yes, I am serving you. Yes, I'm being this nice to you because I represent PNC. No, this is not for you to take advantage of. No, I don't want to date you. I'm married. I don't want anything else. I don't want your money. I've had to really like shut down. I want to actually give you an example. It's one of my clients. He's a regular that comes in. And he comes in to deposit checks from like scrap metal that he gets. And one particular time he came in and it was around January, so he was asking about New Year's resolutions, and I was just like, I prematurely said, oh yeah, I want to lose weight. That's one of my, New Year's resolutions. I want to keep, losing weight and get my weight down. And he stepped back, looked me up and down, literally undressed me with his eyes, and was like, you look perfectly fine. Why you need to do that? And I was
Mm-mm.
like, I tried to ignore the first comment and just be honest. And I was just like, yeah, I want to have kids. So I have to get my body ready to bear kids and bear babies and stuff like that. And he just kept going on with, oh no, you don't need to do that. You look good. Da, 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 da. And it started making me feel gross because he was undressing me with his eyes and his
Mm-mm.
thoughts and the words that he was saying
Mm-mm.
in that matter. And I shut down and just
What are some colloquialisms that are like your favorite when it comes to just talking to people in general? It can be women, it can be men, terminology that within like the black race, it's almost like black knees, not like Chinese.
maybe some of it is nonverbal. Okay?
Mm. Mhm.
So it
Mhm.
could be the look. Like we could look at each other and know exactly what we just like we may have been like sitting across the room and we saw something and we looked at
Yeah.
each other and be like, you
Oh.
got that too. Like you saw that too. Yeah. So it could be
Mhm.
nonverbal as well.
Okay.
Um
Some laughter because it's well needed. I love you so much. Thank you so much for
but
being a part of this project.
of
And
course.
yeah, girl, that's it.
Period. I enjoyed
And
that.
cut. I don't know how they end it, on set. Action. No, that's the start. I don't know. I don't know how you end it. How you end it?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.